Sanjay, I want to ask you another question about television. We went on this holiday driving through for about 15, 20 days. And we passed through a lot of small villages. When I say villages, it's like with population of 1,000, 800. So very tiny villages. But I would always see either a Tata Sky, it's almost like it's there, it's a given, it's sitting there. So has television content, they watch all these series, soaps, and see their lifestyle, what kind of products they have at home. Has that influenced them as well, do you think?
Yeah, that's a major influence because, see, today the youth, see what the internet has done to the urban youth, I think media has done to the rural or the semi-urban areas, because they got exposed to the brands, they exposed to the lifestyle, they got exposed to the dressing sense, what kind of, if you look at why the e-commerce is really doing well in Tier 2, Tier 3 cities. If you ask any e-commerce player, he'll say more than 50% sale is coming from Tier 2, Tier 3 cities. Even for insurance, it is true. More than 50% of our sales comes from, apart from metros and mini metros. So the exposure helped them to really get understanding of the brand, understanding what is really going. And even, what we really think about urban or rural is not really typically is so easy. It is a lot of micro segmentations also there. There is aspiration. There is I think what you need to really understand is the demography, age, income, and the gender. So all these things combination, create a behavioral aspirational segment. And that aspiration segment was existing everywhere, but they don't know where to buy this. They don't know how to use this. They don't know who is using this. I think the exposure to media really helps to solve all the puzzles. And I think television played a huge role in terms of whether it's a cricketer as a brand or, creating that, small town celebrities like it's a Indian Idol Junior. So all these things, if you look at today, see, previously the film star used to come from small town. Today, all the reality TV stars come from the small towns. So the aspiration is always there. It is fueled by television. It's fueled by the aspiration to be seen among the best. And they are really, if you look at today, during my childhood, probably India team will be filled of cricketers from Bombay, Delhi, maybe one guy from South. Like that, Gundappa, Biswanath kind of thing. But if you look at a team today, I think out of 14 players, 10 or 12 will be from the smaller towns, only 1 or 2 will be from Delhi or Bombay. So that's a change which has happened in India. I think it is primarily driven by television, be it in sports, be it in entertainment, be it in education, or be it in consumption.
Yeah, that's great. I think I'm going to ask Mahesh, in your current avatar you are dealing with, you're trying to reach out to the young-minded consumer. And now we're talking about metros and more so metros. So how has, at your end, experiential marketing to these young-minded consumers been? What's your thought on that?
Good news is, especially for young brands who have just made an entry into India or just kind of been there for some years, there is this propensity amongst youth to try out new stuff. Unlike maybe people like us who get used to select set of brands and there's a high degree of loyalty that we typically show to select brands, the youth has this kind of concept of early adoption to new categories, to new brands, which is very good news for young brands like us. And most importantly, it's about the fact that he wants to show that I've arrived in life. So he might have just ended up with a new job, but the fact that he would not start off with what you would say a mainstream brand and then go into a premium brand, he may just jump in straight to a premium brand. You could see that not just in typical food and beverages, but you could see that also in kind of durables or in case of automobiles. So you would not start with a Hero Splendor or a Hero Dawn. You may start with a Pulsar or a Charisma straight away. So you would not start with a basic bike and then keep upgrading. So that's something really good about youth. So you could ensure that you could make them upgrade. They're an extremely profitable segment if you look at it, because the reason being they're willing to pay that kind of money. And most importantly, the fact that they're connected. If you're able to get the key influencers within the youth, and you will figure out that if one guy happens to get something new in a college, the others would typically tend to kind of follow him too. So there is a good positive word of mouth that you can get in, and in a connected world today, that's extremely good for young brands like us. So good things is they're always connected. The cost of contacting them is much lower than maybe cost of contacting traditional people like us. Willing to try out new stuff, new brands, and most importantly, you know, they are looking at new trends. But at the same time, there's always this danger saying that, you know, if you typically tend to overpromise and underdeliver, these guys would dump you also. So that's extremely critical.
Well, not only dump you, ensure 10 others dump you. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the good news, as I said, is, you know, typically India has been a market where in most of the categories, you've had these legacy brands who sit on 70, 80 market shares. I don't want to talk about categories, but you could see that across categories. And new entrants who've come in typically used to find it very difficult, maybe a decade or two back, to make an entry and make kind of a share gain in any of the categories. And now that's not true. So if you look at Cadbury's used to be 90 market share, and now where are they? They're at about less than 65. So across categories, you'll find gone are those days when brands were sitting on 80, 90 market shares. And big companies are also finding it very difficult to hold on to their market shares. So there is this, youth is actually giving an opportunity for new brands to enter into India and gain shares.
Yeah, I think it's a good point that you made, because you know, the youth does flirt a lot with the categories, and today they have choices. So like mobile phones, today they're like so many, and they are the most aware of what's the feature on this one vis-a-vis that one, which one's got offering EMI and at what. So I think we've had some good viewpoints and good thoughts here. So by and large, what this panel is concluding is, at least my understanding is that one is marketers need a clear, you know, it has to be a tripartite contract with these three consumers. It can't be, you know, one size fits all. It can't be just mass marketing. No longer can be. Respect them, reach them differently, and talk to them the way they want to listen. Be relevant to them. And more importantly, you know, it's about use of technology that's changed the society, and keep in touch with that. So traditional marketers should start moving into more technological marketing, or at least using technology to market themselves. So I think we can open it up to questions.
Just have an open question to the forum. So people are, of course, talking about the technology and getting the consumer on the internet, advertising their digital marketing and stuff. Also, there are the other set of people who are talking about the retail space and the experiential marketing sort of. So my question is, where do you divide the fine line? Where do you think the marketing strategy would work the best? Is it only the digital? Is it the experiential in your retail footsteps? Or how do you track your customer? How do you get the most of him?
See, always marketing depend on your objective, and you know, it's always depend on what your customer is actually doing. So we all call about it digital as a media, social, digital, you know, where you'll spend your money, where TV, print, all these discussions are old. I have to decide who's my consumer, how he's spending time, where he's actually, where I can find him, where can I have a meaningful conversation. I think what has changed is like, it cannot be one-way conversation. You have to be, see, what is important today for the marketer is like social listening. You have to listen to the customer. You have to react to the customer very quickly. So if you look at like, you know, anything which happens, you know, the customer today, anyone can really write to the CEO. Any one small incident can really make it a much more bigger thing, what was not really possible earlier days. So as a marketer, it is pertinent to really not only just use digital as a medium, which many of the companies are like, many of the brands they're doing. It is important to look at how your customer is spending time, and who is your customer, what do you want to influence, and how you want to listen to him, and how you want to have a continuous conversation with him. It's the engagement is much more critical today compared to like one-way conversation, like like earlier days that I make a product, I do the advertisement, I just bombard it on TV and expect the sales to happen. This will probably not happen today, and all the aspect of it is much more important. The post-sales, pre-sales experience, how he's actually getting it, where he's getting it, and are you really giving a consistent experience? I think experience is much more critical today in a digital world compared to the previous time.
So I think I'll just add one more point to what
ahead.
Sanjay is saying, that, yes, while it has to be, experience, and it's extremely important because it's a two-way conversation, but a lot of marketers are now getting very conscious of the cost. So at one end, there is effectiveness and the balance between whether it's experiential or passive. You use a passive medium or an active medium. So the effectiveness is very important, but also efficiency is also extremely important, because today every marketer is looking at, Mahesh just made a point earlier that reaching the young consumer, his cost per contact is a lot more efficient through the digital medium and where they hang out. So I think that's also something that marketers should keep in mind.
I'll just add a point to it. So if you look at, maybe let me take a real life example. You look at Unilever. So you have a shampoo category where they have brands like Clinic Plus, Clear, Sunsilk, Tresemme, and Dove. They've got 5 brands in their portfolio. So clearly, you can't have all brands going on TV, nor you can have all brands going on digital. So clearly, if you look at it in the portfolio, you have a Clinic Plus, very rural, sells predominantly 80-70% in sachets. Very clearly, TV is the right way to go. I mean, especially when you look at TV, they'll say, hey, my big markets are down south, so I'll look at regional TV. Then you have a new brand that they've introduced, which is Tresemme, was a brand that hit 100 crores very quick. But where did you see a Tresemme ad? Very little of it. Predominantly, bulk of the money that they've put on Tresemme is all on digital. And that's clearly because the proposition that Tresemme had was a salon-like experience back home. And they thought that could be really well brought out through digital. And then you have brands like Sunsilk, which is predominantly mass media, but does a bit of digital as well, which is right in the middle. So it all depends on what you have in the portfolio, what you're targeting. And that's very, very critical. So if you look at it, digital is important, but for a mass brand today, spends on digital is still very, very insignificant if you look at FMCG. But maybe in categories like insurance, real estate, where digital is growing. But yes, in predominantly FMCG, if you're in mass, you still are resorting to a lot of traditional ways of communicating to consumers.